Madam Secretary, what impact on Treasury rulemaking do you expect from the loss of Chevron deference? Do you expect the impact to be disruptive, minimal? Is it too early to tell?
Well, I am concerned about the Chevron decision. As the White House has indicated, it limits the use of agency expertise in designing rules or deferring to rules that we put in place subject to congressional legislation. But we intend to go on with rulemaking efforts and protect the American people through those rulemakings. And we're evaluating, our legal team is evaluating whether or not there is specific implications. I'm not aware of anything specific so far.
I have a question about the semiconductor arms race with China. According to a report by the Boston Consulting Group and the Semiconductor Industry Association, by 2032, the United States will account for 30% of advanced semiconductor production, compared to only 2% for China. Do you believe, as I do, that these projections demonstrate the success of the Biden strategy, the combination of CHIPS investment in America and the export controls on China?
I do, yes, I would agree with that.
And Madam Secretary, you've been sounding the alarm about China's overcapacity
Yes.
of legacy chip making. According to the same report, by 2032, China will account for 1/5 of chips in the range of 10 to 22 nanometers and 1/3 of chips above 28 nanometers. What action should the United States take to combat China's overcapacity of legacy chip making, and when should we take those actions?
Well, the recent actions of putting tariffs in place did include some legacy chips. And of course, the Semiconductor and Chips Act is designed to promote additional production in the United States to secure our supply chains and to gain the dynamic benefits that come from producing and learning in the process of production, developing new technologies.
On a separate topic, the Financial Times has reported that Chinese organized crime operates a network of underground banks that launders money for both Mexican cartels who are trafficking in fentanyl and Chinese nationals whose capital is fleeing China. Chinese money laundering is essentially financing the deadliest drug crisis in American history, a crisis whose latest death toll surpasses 100,000 Americans. What role is the Treasury Department playing in policing the illicit finance at the heart of America's deadliest drug crisis?
So I certainly agree that it is a national tragedy what's happened with drugs, particularly fentanyl and other synthetic opioids, and Treasury is using every tool at its disposal to try to crack down and reduce the flow of illicit drugs into the United States. That includes by direct sanctions that we put on firms in China and elsewhere that are providing precursors. We have an agreement to work collaboratively with China to reduce the activities of Chinese firms in supplying precursors to Mexico. We're working collaboratively with Mexico. We've announced many new sanctions actions, cracking down on
I do worry that the CCP is stringing us along. 97% of the fentanyl precursors are manufactured in China. Xi Jinping has the power to unilaterally shut down the supply chains that account for almost all of those fentanyl precursors. At what point does the United States impose sanctions on China for perpetuating the deadliest drug crisis in American history?
We have seen China take some positive steps in recent months, and we'll try to build on that, but I wouldn't rule out anything in the future.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Secretary.